If restrictive diets are so bad for our gut, why do they ease all the symptoms? So when we're talking about these common diets and extreme diets, although I would place plant-based diets, vegan and raw vegan in the same category, we're more talking about low carb, keto, carnivore diets. Now, the reason why these diets tend to reduce symptoms is because they remove a lot of the triggers that a lot of people suffer from. So things like sugar alcohols that can draw water into the gut and cause looser stools, gluten that can cause an immune reaction in certain people, particularly those with celiac disease, lactose, which is a really common problem. Some don't have the enzyme lactase to break down lactose as we become adults, so therefore the majority of the world's population actually can't break down dairy properly. So that's a very common one. And then lastly is just fermentable carbs, things, high FODMAP foods like your garlic, your onion, they ferment quite quick in the gut, so they can cause some discomfort, gas, bloating, stuff like that. But that doesn't mean that these foods are bad for you. It just means that they're a bit of a trigger for you at the moment. Now, unfortunately, because we know how beneficial a lot of these foods are for the gut, the idea around following any sort of narrow diet for a long period generally isn't recommended in the gut health space. And again, the reason for this is from looking at how the microbiome works and how it feeds, we know that plant fibers tend to create a very positive anti-inflammatory effect in the gut and can even start to rebuild the gut barrier, something that in IBD is severely compromised. Now, the reason why this gets a little bit more complicated for IBD is that we obviously don't have the luxury of eating all the foods that most people can without getting some sort of symptoms. So a lot of us end up going down this narrow diet route because it's the only thing that gives us some sense of symptom relief. So we can do that, and generally it's not something that's not advised. If you did need to follow a very sort of restricted diet for a short period, it can be beneficial in terms of giving your bowel rest and allowing you to essentially start from ground zero. So ground zero would be where you've cut out all the potential triggers, predominantly plants, but all your high FODMAP foods, gluten, lactose, all these things, and then you slowly start reintroducing them. But the idea is to reintroduce over a specific time period. We want you to reintroduce foods, and we want the final diet to be something that's quite balanced. So although these extreme diets do definitely have a place in the short term, it's really worth noting that if you are going to take a dietary approach to your condition, that you do end up trying to get to a place where you can eat a large variety of plant fibers. So although these diets like keto, carnivore and whatever else, for me personally, do have a place in someone trying to navigate their way through this condition, I definitely don't think that should be an end goal or somewhere that you're looking to finish up at. I think that these have enormous benefits for reducing symptoms and allowing people to start to figure out what their triggers might be. But from looking at the microbiome and how it works, we all want to be trying to get to a place where our diet is very varied and very balanced in terms of what's going into it and not just meat and dairy. So if you're experiencing any of these kind of issues, or you're starting out with IBD and where I was, and you're looking from one place to another and you're really confused about what is the actual diet to follow, drop me a like, drop me a follow, reach out for a free consultation. I'd be more than happy to sit down with you, understand your situation, and then talk you through a potential plan. These things are very personal, and I don't want to ever come across that we're shutting people out or shaming people for eating a certain way. The aim here is to just present you with the science and allow you to make up your own minds about how you eat and manage this condition. See you on the next one.